Adin Ross says he's changed, but his recent controversies tell a completely different story, and none of this is accidental. And before anyone gets defensive, let's be very clear about what this video is and is not. This is not about old Twitch drama. This is not about digging up clips from years ago. This is not about cancelling Adin Ross. This is about what has been happening recently, what is still actively being discussed right now, and why the same backlash keeps following him, no matter how many times he says he's grown. Because when you actually look at Adin Ross's most recent content, a very specific pattern starts to emerge. Not rumors, not assumptions, a pattern. And once you see it, it becomes hard to ignore.
Be real, it's my fault. It's my fault for the Cardi. I'll be real, it's my fault. Cardi never got no 2 mil. You know that. He got a couple 100K. But still, that's really like the issue with that.
Talk. What did you talking about? So,
Baby is a cool dude though. Like I'm not like bro, he's actually a cool dude. He's just about his money.
Over the past several months, Adin Ross has repeatedly described himself as someone who has matured. He's said he's learned from past mistakes, that he's more careful now, and that he's trying to move smarter with his platform. These statements are confirmed. He has said them publicly, on stream and on social media. What is not confirmed is whether that growth has translated into meaningful behavioral change. And that's where the controversy begins. Because despite the language of self-improvement, Adin's recent content continues to revolve around highly polarizing discussions, controversial guests, and moments that predictably explode online. This is not speculation, it is observable through the clips, reactions, and recurring backlash cycles tied to his streams. One of the most consistent criticisms aimed at Adin Ross recently is not simply who he brings on his platform, but how he handles those conversations once they're live. In multiple recent streams, Adin has hosted discussions involving extreme or socially divisive viewpoints. The controversy is not that these viewpoints exist, it's that they are often allowed to unfold with little to no real-time challenge. Adin's role in these moments is frequently passive. He reacts, laughs, nods, or lets the conversation continue without meaningful pushback. That passivity matters because when you stream to hundreds of thousands of viewers live and millions through clips afterward, silence is not neutral.
Certainly been a while.
Reunited and it feels so good. Top G! I can see you got bigger, my friend.
Adin, what are you doing with your life?
Come on, bro. Already off the jump? You don't want to catch up? Hey, how's it going?
What's the point in catching up? What's the point in catching up with you when I basically know the answer? You're sitting in Miami doing hedonistic bull.
No.
Sitting around, doing drugs, drinking, doing absolutely nothing important, hanging around with a bunch of losers. That's what you're doing.
Okay.
Now, it is important to be precise here. There is no confirmed evidence that Adin Ross personally endorses every opinion expressed by his guests. That claim would be inaccurate and unfair. Adin himself has repeatedly stated that he does not agree with everything his guests say. What is confirmed, however, is that those disagreements are rarely expressed during the actual conversations. They tend to surface later, in response streams, tweets, or defensive explanations after backlash has already spread. That timing creates a problem, because disagreement that only appears after public outrage doesn't function as disagreement to the audience watching live. To many viewers, especially younger ones, comfort and silence can easily read as approval. That's not a moral accusation, it's how media consumption works. Another recent controversy surrounding Adin Ross involves how he responds to criticism itself. When backlash hits, Adin has increasingly framed it as persecution rather than feedback. He has suggested that critics are trying to silence him, cancel him, or suppress certain conversations. He has tied criticism to broader narratives about free speech and control. Clip insert number 3. Short, 4 to 6 seconds. Adin reacting emotionally to criticism, mentioning cancelling, haters, or being attacked. Cut before it becomes ranty.
You have a Porsche, you have a $5 million crib, your dad is rich as spoiled you as a kid, you never worked a job, you said streaming's harder than 9 to 5. You just suck. You suck, bro. You suck. You brainwash your ass audience, bro. They're all pedophiles. They're wearing your little pedophilia merch and shit. I don't give a fuck about you, bro. I don't know how old you are. I don't care. But all I want to say is this, bro. You're like 7 foot tall. You're built, but you're a all right? I'm sorry, chat, but it's just the truth. It's the truth, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. But it's the truth. All right? That's it. That's it. No more. No more. At least I got handsome people that watch my stream. Ooh. Man, my bad, chat. I had to go crazy. My bad. I had to, bro. My bad. Box? I'm not going to box him, bro. This guy's not my weight class. But there's no point to giving a reaction anymore. But chat, how is it that everybody on Twitter is just being so nice and congratulating me, except for him and Ninja? Ninja, you too, bro. I looked up to you, so did Kai. You said the same thing about Kai. You just throwing these little
Here's what we know for certain. There is no confirmed evidence of an organized campaign to deplatform Adin Ross. He remains highly visible, financially successful, and unrestricted on Kick. No platform-wide action supports the idea that he is being silenced. What is confirmed is that Adin has leaned into a victim narrative when addressing criticism. This approach energizes his core audience, but it also escalates conflict rather than resolving it. Criticism becomes hostility, disagreement becomes an attack, concern becomes hate, and that framing removes any incentive for self-reflection. Because once you believe all criticism is malicious, there's nothing left to learn from it. This ties directly into the contradiction at the center of Adin Ross's recent controversies. Adin wants to be taken seriously, that much is clear. He talks about legacy, influence, and long-term success. He compares himself to other major creators and speaks openly about wanting respect beyond shock value. Those desires are confirmed through his own words, but respect is built through consistency, not volume. And consistency is exactly where the skepticism comes from. Because while Adin claims growth, the structure of his content remains largely unchanged. The same cycle repeats itself: controversial topic, minimal moderation, viral backlash, emotional response, and then a declaration that he's being misunderstood. Different situation, same result. That's not evolution, that's repetition. This is where it becomes less about any single controversy and more about the system Adin is operating within. Adin Ross is part of an ecosystem where controversy is rewarded. Outrage generates clips, clips generate engagement, engagement reinforces behavior. It is not confirmed that Adin deliberately plans every controversy. There is no proof of that. But it is confirmed that controversy consistently benefits his metrics, and incentives shape decisions whether creators acknowledge it or not. This is why many critics say Adin seems stuck. Not stuck because he lacks options. Stuck because the short-term rewards are too effective to walk away from easily. And this brings us to the long-term concern that's gaining traction. Not that Adin Ross is about to disappear. Not that he's about to be banned. Not that his career is over. None of that is confirmed, and none of it is currently supported by evidence. The concern is sustainability. History shows that creators who rely heavily on controversy often struggle when audiences mature, platforms adjust policies, or cultural tolerance shifts. Past content doesn't vanish. It gets reinterpreted. Adin Ross is at a point where his influence is undeniable. His reach is massive, and whether he wants it or not, his words carry weight. The recent controversies aren't about isolated mistakes. They're about patterns of decision-making, patterns that suggest Adin understands his power, but hasn't fully accepted the responsibility that comes with it. That doesn't make him malicious. It makes him human. But it does make the criticism legitimate, because when you claim growth, people expect evidence. When you claim neutrality, people expect boundaries. When you claim accountability, people expect consistency. Right now, Adin Ross is still being judged less by what he says about himself, and more by what his content continues to show. Eventually, one of those two things will have to change. And that's not speculation, that's just how the internet works.